Hey guys.
It doesn't really feel any different than it did 2 seconds ago, does it?
Feels the same.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Hey guys, welcome to Crown HQ, guys. Crown/persons of interest. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
What do you mean? You stole our name, our podcast name?
Yeah, I did.
Just like that, huh?
I did.
That's
It's
how
going
it
to be
goes.
like that. Thank you for coming, guys. This is it's an honor for me to be the first guest on this podcast. It's pretty cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And before we get any further and we dive in, let me just say congratulations to you guys. You're doing an amazing job with the brand. Excited to see what's to come and excited to see how far you've come in the last few years. So good on you.
Thank you, brother.
Pleasure. Yeah.
I always love being here in this space.
Thank you, man.
Like, it's just the vibe, the energy,
Thank you, man.
everything that's going. It always looks like there's something interesting happening, you know?
There is always something on the table for sure. There's always something going on. Yeah, it's a cozy little space.
Yeah.
Cozy little space. We love it. Yeah, it's home.
Not too shabby for a bunch of nobodies, huh?
Not too shabby at all for a nobody like me, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's comfortable. There's a lot going on in a small space here, that's for sure. As you can see, looking around, it's a bit of a mess, but I like mess.
Organized chaos, right?
Organized chaos, yeah, absolutely.
What inspired the apothecary look that you have going on in here?
You know what? That was just that was my vibe from when I started the brand so many years ago. When Crown Shaving Company first started, I was actually going purposely for an apothecary look. I didn't really see back then any men's brands that were kind of marketing that masculine type of brand, but that had a bit more of a luxurious apothecary type feel. So that's what I was after from day one. I think we achieved that. We've evolved since that day, since way back when, and we've changed the packaging a little bit a few times, but we're still trying to keep with that apothecary feel for sure.
Is there something about that really speaks to you or resonates with you?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's all my trips to New York. New York has that kind of old school vibe. There were a lot of cool little apothecary skincare stores that me and my wife would pop in. But even if you go to just their little cafes, even their cafes have a cool old apothecary vibe. And if you look at this space, you can see that's kind of what I'm doing in here. From the tiled floor to the ceiling, it's got that old school New York apothecary vibe to it. At least I think so. That's the look I was after anyway.
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, even from like labeling to bottles to...
Yeah, in terms of the packaging, yeah, I wanted something that kind of looked vintage. Definitely. Vintage apothecary style, for sure.
With a slice of manly.
Thank you, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, back then I was really trying to appeal to men back then. And the branding was very, very masculine. The message was very masculine. Over the years, I don't want to say we tamed it down, but maybe slightly. We're not putting that message out so much because people have changed, and some people don't want branding that is overly masculine. They just want something that's a little bit more subtle. So we don't really scream that message anymore. It's skincare for men, definitely. But I mean, I have women that are ordering my lip balm and my hair conditioner and my shampoo. So we've tamed down that messaging a little bit, but it's still definitely geared towards men. We make products for men. I make products for me.
Yeah.
And my buddies, and stuff that I know I like and stuff that I think my buddies would like. And if everyone else likes it, that's great. And if they don't, I really don't give a fuck. It's probably terrible to hear an owner of a brand say I don't give a fuck, but I really do. I make stuff that I know that I'm going to use and stuff that I know I'm going to like. I'm not trying to appeal to the masses. If I like it, I'll put it out there. If I don't like it, I won't do it. Like a simple thing like beard oil. I'm not a fan of beard oils. Beard oils are huge. Everybody has one. We've always done a beard balm from day one. Actually, that was one of our first products, and nobody was actually doing any beard products back then. And the only place we were shipping that to was to a barbershop in Rome, believe it or not. Sorry, in Milan. And after that, the whole beard craze just went nuts, and beard oils were everywhere. But I don't particularly like the feel and the texture of oils in my beard hair or in my hands afterwards. So we made a beard balm back in the day, and we stuck with that one beard product. I mean, I could easily roll out 20 different fragrances of beard oils. It's easy enough to make. It's not something I'm going to use, so I just won't make it.
And what's the difference between like a balm and an oil?
Well, they both really do the same thing. They're both designed to kind of condition the hair and to condition the skin beneath the hair. So, you get that little bit of dryness, that flakiness. They'll both do the same thing. One the beard balm is more of an aloe-based product, so it's water-based, so it'll absorb into the hair, into the skin, and it won't feel sticky or greasy. And oil will tend to sit on the surface. An hour later, you might go touch your beard, and you'll feel a little bit of oiliness still. So they'll do the same thing, but it's a preference. Some people like the oil because it leaves a bit more of a shine. I prefer just more of a matte finish. So yeah, so we just stuck with the balm, and we never introduced any other beard product after that, other than our beard wash. We have a beard wash that goes along with it.
When did you release that?
Years ago. Yeah, that's been out for a while now.
Been a while.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. We don't release that many products. I mean, I think we're up to about maybe 18 SKUs now, including our prepackaged kits where you can get like a beard kit, a shave kit. But there's been some years we don't release anything, and then some years we'll release 2 products throughout the year. So I don't really, again, unlike some of these real major brands, we don't have a set, schedule where annually we need to release X amount of products to stay relevant. I just kind of go with my gut feeling. If there's something I want to do, I do it, and that's it. And I guess that's the beauty of being a small brand. I get to decide what I want to do and what I don't want to do.
Do you think it'll always stay that way? Let's just say tomorrow, 3 days from now, whatever, a month from now, you're a big brand, which, I mean, big is relative, but let's just say you get to that next level. You still think you'll operate in this capacity that got you there?
I don't think you can if you go to that next level, and that's one of the reasons why I'm still quite comfortable where I am. I mean, getting to that next level is really a choice. If I want to scale, if I want to grow, there's things I got to do to get there. But for the time being, I'm comfortable being where I am. I get to work at my pace. I get to work closely with our retail partners and have relationships with them. I get to go home for dinner at fucking 6 o'clock at night, not have to worry about, meetings and all kinds of shit. And, scale brings on a whole set of new problems. Yeah, it's great for a brand if you want to grow, if you want to see more money and see more value in the brand. But for me, I'm perfectly content where I am. But yeah, if I do decide to scale, there's a lot of things that would have to change in order to do that for sure.
Yeah. Well, you obviously scaled since the day you started. I mean,
sure. Yeah. Quite a bit. I mean,
quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember Johnny and I used to sit together and talk about the brand in the early days. Actually, Johnny was very kind to offer to come in and help Crown in the early days. And I think the evaluation, just to speak of how much it has evolved since then, the evaluation was really low back then because the brand was just getting started. So it definitely has grown. I wouldn't say it's necessarily scaled to any great level. I'm still pretty much a one-man show doing a lot of the work with the help of my wife and the help of excellent manufacturing partners that I've created these great relationships with. But yeah, scale is not something I'm looking to do right now. We're content where we are.
Yeah.
But definitely since those early days where you would come in for a shave and we would discuss the brand, yeah, it's grown quite a bit since then for sure.
Yeah, you were my first shave.
Was that right?
True story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was now realizing it because obviously I get shaved a little more. Still the best shave I ever had in my life.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
You're a master at your craft.
Yeah, we were trying to create, it was more about the shave. I mean, it was the experience. It's not just the shave. Back then, we're talking, I came across some old pictures recently and I was looking at the dates. One of them I think was 13 years ago where I had you in the chair. And back then, there wasn't really anybody doing the hot towel shaves. Barbering had kind of died many, many years ago. Guys were going to salons. There wasn't this resurgence of barbershops back then. So being out here in the village and what me and Frank were offering in the barbershop, I don't think anybody was really doing that. And at that time, I had customers driving in from Hamilton, from Burlington, from all over, literally just to come and sit in the shop, get a haircut from Frank, get a shave with myself, have an espresso. It was definitely a vibe back then that nobody was offering. I'm glad to see it's changed. I mean, there's barbershops everywhere now. And that's definitely helped my business grow because without all the little mom and pop barbershops that we sell to, Crown wouldn't have grown the way it did. So.
And when did you know? Like, at what moment in time did you know I'm going to create my own label, my own products? And what was that like? Yeah,
well, it wasn't really intentional, to be honest with you. I was just I was initially a hairdresser back in the 80s. I graduated in 86 from hairdressing. Actually, back then, it was a cosmetology / barbering course. So you got out of there with training for both and a license that kind of said both. That's changed since then. You can only get a cosmetology license now. You can't do barber training or you can't go to barber school in Toronto. You could do private courses and stuff. but the government doesn't offer that as a course anymore. So I got out of hairdressing due to allergic reactions to a lot of the products after like 5-6 years being in the business. Gone on to do other things, only to realize I wanted to kind of come back to it, but with a little bit of a different twist. I decided instead of coming back as a stylist, I wanted to come back as a barber and focus on men, and more so focus on the shaves. So when I did come back and I started doing the shaves, I just really felt that there was I don't want to say a gap in the market, because there were so many great shaving products. There always have been a lot of shaving products for men. There wasn't a brand that spoke to me brand wise. Ingredients wise, I could have benefited from something with a little less chemicals in it, because I had bad reactions to certain chemicals, high alcohol concentration, sulfates that were kind of irritating my skin. So I kind of just wanted to make something that I could use in the shop that was gonna be a bit more gentle on my skin, and that would appeal a bit more to my customers if they would see that jar sitting on the counter while they were getting shaved. So it was initially something I created just for myself and my customers, and it evolved. People would come in and they would comment on the way the shave felt and how the cream felt and how they weren't feeling the razor pulling. Then they would ask me about it. I'd show them the product. They would comment on how great it looked, if they could buy something off of me, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Just from one product led to 2 products to 3 products, and so on. So yeah, it wasn't ever an initial plan to, I'm going to set out and I'm going to create a skincare line for men. It just kind of happened organically, I guess.
The universe
Very organically
brought it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to that, I'm so just to, I don't know, Jules, if you know the story, or Vinay knows, but after meeting you through cousin Matt, right?
Yeah,
that was
cousin Matt. Yeah.
I was introduced as cousin Johnny. But obviously I had my first shave ever, because I didn't have any facial hair back then.
Yeah.
Barely any.
Yeah.
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 I don't think I hit puberty until I was, what, 35?
Yeah, it was an easy shave.
Yeah.
It was an easy shave, yeah.
It was an easy shave. So anyways, it was freaking awesome, meeting you. And then just even talking to you, talking to Matt, talking to the guys, really felt comfortable. But when we were going through that, because at one point I had transitioned away from my other business, and I was taking a couple months, if you will, but looking for my next opportunity or where I would go next.
I recall.
Yeah. And I was like a kid in a candy store, because I had my heart set on this. You can talk to my wife if you don't, I know you believe me, but
I do believe you. I recall you were...
I would go home, my eyes lit up, and I would tell Christina, like, this might happen. I know it's early, but like, this would be amazing. I could bring this brand from nothing, not from nothing, but from the ground, build those building blocks and really make a difference. And I'm just curious, because I know exactly where my plans were at that time. Like, what was going through your mind?
Well, I think because it was so early on, and I do remember, and I actually had that same conversation with my wife. I said, this guy Johnny, he's a client, he's a friend, and he seems really ambitious. He's kind of in between stuff right now. He seems like really hungry to do something, and he's great at marketing. And he's made an offer. He wants to join me. He wants to help grow the brand. I think at that time, I just felt I didn't think I can offer you much, to be honest with you, because I felt like you bring in someone, I think the deal would have been more kind of sweat equity initially. But I still felt like, you know what, if somebody comes in and they're just going to do sweat equity, I think I didn't believe somebody would really believe in my brand enough to work for free to help get it to the point where then we can go that next step. So I think it wasn't you, as they say, it wasn't you, John, it was me. It was me. It was really, I felt like I'm so small, like, I don't want to waste this guy's time.
Really?
Because he seems too ambitious. I know he's going to go on to greatness to do something, because I could see you had that drive and that intensity and that hustle, because you weren't giving up. You kept coming around, you kept bringing it up. So yeah, we came close, but I just felt like what am I going to offer this guy? Just fucking really, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't feel like I could really, either it's going to go great or it's going to go at a point where he's still working and nothing's happening and there's no paycheck in it for him, because there was no paycheck in it for me. As you know, starting a small business, you're just throwing money at it. And if you believe enough, you just keep throwing money at it. You don't make money for a long time. So yeah, I felt like I didn't feel like I had enough to offer you. I felt like it wasn't gonna work out, I guess.
Wow, that's crazy. Imagine we
Yeah.
had that conversation.
Yeah, I just look. I knew you were. Look, you're younger than me. You were hungry. I said, this young guy. He's got a wife. He's young. They just got married. He's gonna come and work for free. It just didn't like. If I was in a different position where the business was at a slightly different level, and I could even offer a little paycheck, maybe that would have changed things.
Yeah.
But to take someone on when they say, "Oh, sweat equity, I'll work for nothing. We'll worry about it later," just didn't feel right to me.
I would have.
I know you would have. But
I believe. I
You
still
believe
believe
more than I
believe
did.
in the brand. I believe in you.
I know you did.
I still do. I was gonna say
I know
I'm
you
just
did.
referencing to that period
Thank
of time. But yeah, man. I listen. I do believe that everything happens for whatever
for
reason
sure.
it's supposed to happen.
For sure. And I believed in you. I just didn't feel like I had enough to offer you. But I knew you were I knew you would have been able to help me. I knew you would have gone on to do something great. And I had that conversation with Pamela, my wife as well. I said, I know this guy's going to do something. I didn't feel bad not doing it because I said he's going to end up doing something. And in fact, we actually took that second step then and discussed, you brought up the leather idea. And at that time, I said to you, I was actually working on some stuff, some men's grooming leather items. And we were talking about potentially, I don't know if you remember that conversation.
I do.
Potentially doing, we even threw out some names really quick one day, having a cigar outside of the barber shop.
I do.
And I thought we were going to potentially do something like that. And then I thought about that. And I said, I'm going to waste this guy's time. And I got to figure out what I'm doing here. And I said to you, John, you know what? I love your idea. Here's a friend of mine's number who could potentially help you. Probably one of the greatest leather craftsmen I know. And I said, you're on your own. Good luck. I know you're going to do great.
Yeah.
And you ran with that. And here we are today.
Here we are.
Yeah. And there's days where I go, what the fuck did I do? I could have been part of Peter James, this great brand. But you know what? This is how things turn out. For a reason. Like you said, things turn out
We
that
are
way
a part
for
of each
reason.
other in a way.
We are, for sure.
We care in case anyone wonders.
Yeah.
Purses of interest. All handcrafted, I guess.
Yeah.
Jules and I, you were part of the process for when you started in October.
Mm-hmm.
How many months do you think we've dedicated to try to curate a fragrance line?
Oh, 3 to 4, 5 months even. It was a long and grueling process.
Yeah.
Getting nowhere. And at that point, that's the point when I think we both realized, like, there's some people that are born to do certain things. They're specialists. We shouldn't look at ourselves as a, a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And so that's when we realized, hey, we're just going to keep spinning our wheels here. We're going to keep making a whole bunch of fragrances that just don't hit any mark.
Yeah.
And that's when we're like, oh shit.
I get that. You can't be
come
all
see
things
Dino.
to all people.
Right.
That's like me suddenly selling cigars. People know Crown and persons of interest for our skincare and our fragrances. It would end up being a promotional item. People wouldn't take it seriously. And it's another reason why I kind of didn't go as deep as I had intended to with the leather. Because I realized, and I did have some leather products come out years ago, but I realized people were coming to Crown not for leather. And again, you can't be all things to all people. If I carved my niche, if I'm the men's grooming guy and I'm the skincare guy, then I got to stay in my lane. Not that somebody can't go into another lane and do it great. It just takes a lot of effort. Yeah. If somebody knows you for one thing, it's hard to sell them on another thing. So sometimes it's just better, like I was making leather, drop the leather and say, customer of mine is looking for a leather product, go to Peter James. They got what you're looking for. It's their specialty. There's nobody better. But to try to do a little bit of this, and it's like me doing leather shaving cream. Now I'm going to have an espresso fucking machine at the front. I'm going to try and be a fucking barista here in the village. You can't do everything great. I'd rather focus on one thing and be really good at that. And sometimes the best thing is let the other people do that thing. And if you want to carry something like a fragrance, go to the fragrance guy. So thank you for coming. I'm here. You're here. I'm here. Julian's here. Yeah.
Thank you. Because, I mean, we probably wouldn't be sitting here without that. That misstep on your choices and getting everything to where me sitting right here is entirely based on the fact that you started that or you said no and led John down a different path. Yeah,
and now we're working as partners in this. It's great to have you guys on as a retail partner. We're very selective. Crown Shaving Co. is in a bunch of stores, a lot of barbershops, a lot of lifestyle shops. Persons of Interest is a bit more of a boutique-y fragrance line. That's something I set out to do as more of a little side project for myself. I just wanted to do something a bit more creative. And the intent was not to go down that same path as Crown in terms of distributorship. It's a lot more selective. So we're only in a handful of retail, only in a handful of retail partnerships. And we're very selective who we choose to work with. And Peter James is like right up my alley. So it was like a perfect fit for us.
What's your vision for Persons?
You know,
having an established brand already.
Yeah, not really. We're still like, I keep it it's very much, I don't want to say like a secret society, but a lot of people don't know what Persons of Interest is. And the few diehards that are out there that follow the brand feel that. And that's, I think, why they like it so much, because a lot of people don't know about it. And then they find out one of their friends hears about it and they're like, oh my God, you heard about that brand? I've been wearing it for a year now. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say for the chosen few, because we will get bigger, but I'm not really pushing it. Again, it was like a side fun project for me. And just like Crown, I'm not looking to scale anything. I'm pretty content with where I am at life. I don't want to get any busier with anything. I like where I am. It's manageable for me right now. So the plan is just to like slowly roll out to more select type of retail partners. Not big box. I always tend to like to work with more boutique-y, small stores where you can actually create a relationship and feel like you're part of another community. Like if I go direct to consumer and I'm just online, that's great. The margins are much better. It makes more sense these days. But I want to be in that little shop in Denver, Colorado, where that community gets to come and experience Persons of Interest, or that little boutique in Pennsylvania that's doing so well with our brand. Places that I would never expect it to do well it's doing great. Salt Lake City, Utah. We got a retail partner out there. It's doing fantastic. So yeah, I think we'll just keep rolling it out that way, selective partners, and slowly grow it that way. No intentions on like blowing it up any bigger right now. Definitely no intentions to try and get into big box retail. We were initially in Holt Renfrew with our sanitizer during the whole COVID craze. As soon as it started, they were trying to bring in more brands. They were trying to be relevant and have a good selection of sanitizers that would appeal to their customer base. So we did that for 2 years. The craze has died down now, so they've eliminated almost all of their sanitizer brands and just kept the ones that they initially had, which is cool. I knew it was going to be like a temporary thing. They did want to bring on the fragrance at one time. The only reason we didn't move forward on that, to be honest with you, is since COVID, the whole supply chain has been just fucked. Still a fucking mess. And I didn't want to go down a road where I can't fulfill a PO because I don't got fucking lids or sprayers or the bottles aren't in or ingredient shortage. So for now, I'm keeping it manageable, keeping it small, just a few select small retailers, and that's it. We'll see where it goes. I'm having fun with it, so I don't know. We're definitely expanding onto other things away from personal fragrance. We're getting a bit more into home scenting. Our incense cones, you guys carry those. Those seem to do well. I think you guys are fans of that product. Thank you. So we'll probably expand on that, maybe introduce another scent in that. We have done candles in the past. We may bring back some custom candles. We're looking at a diffuser right now, so we just your standard oil to water diffuser. So yeah, we're going to try and expand into the home space a bit more now. And probably go down into skincare as well. We just launched our hand wash, liquid hand wash, which is a nice little item. We'll give you guys some of that today to take home with you. I don't think you've seen that yet, have you?
No.
Did I show you that? Okay. We just launched that. It's actually, I don't think we even put it up on the website yet, to be honest with you.
Well, dude, I just appreciate the care package. When I came back, I saw a Crown lined up on the desk.
Glad.
And for me now, I get to enjoy the beer bomb because I have something.
You have a beard now.
Still not.
Finally reached puberty.
Yeah. Took a while. I think my son's going to hit it fully before I do. So what I want to go back to the Coupe de Ville.
Oh, boy.
Dude, do you have a picture of that car?
I do. I'll find you one. I'll send you one. First off, before we go any further, let me apologize for my Italian hands. They're fucking flailing all over the place as I speak. So if you hear somebody punching the mic, that's me. Sorry, guys. The DeVille. I do have a picture of that DeVille somewhere. Yeah, fucking hair down to here.
Didn't you? What did you have when I came to the shop that time?
Oh, I had a 53 Chevy.
Yes.
That 53 Chevy was like a fucking billboard. I think that's another reason we got so busy. That barbershop in this little quaint village, once I parked that 53, I wasn't even driving it home because I put it out there one day, went into work, and people were just stopping. Hey, what is this place? What's going on here? That actually pulled in so many customers that I literally left that car there. It was out there for fucking years. I would drive it home on the weekends, but during the week it would just stay there and bring people in. People would come up the driveway, look at the car, then they would notice the barber shop, look in the window, and they'd come back the following week for a visit. So it was, the 53 Chevy was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, and I swore I would hold on to that car. And this plays into the whole Crown story. I was gonna keep that car for my kid. At the time, he was just a little guy. He's 23 now. But that car, I ended up having to sell that car because, again, as we were talking about before, throwing money at a new business, if you believe enough in what you're doing, you got to stick it out. A lot of people, especially these days, too many people start shit thanks to fucking Gary Vee with, yeah, you could do it. Rah, rah, rah. Anybody can do anything. They start shit, they don't hustle enough, and they fucking throw in the towel too soon. Whereas back then, I realized I was onto something. I believed in what I was doing. So I was running out of money, and I wasn't making money to continue with the production of the shaving cream. I was running out of my money, so I decided to sell the 53 Chevy. It was a tough decision, but I realized, you know what? If I'm gonna make a go of this, I need funding. I don't want to bring anybody in. I'm certainly not going to put my family at risk by just racking up credit cards to do it. So I sold that beautiful 53, had a shitload of shaving cream to keep me going for a while. Next time I had to make some more, get another production run. Things were going well, but when you start a business like that, initially you're giving a ton of shit away. People don't see the value in you. You're just starting something out. It's hard to get into stores. It's hard to get people to spend their hard-earned money. So I was doing a lot of promotions, just giving stuff away back then. That next production run came. I'm like 2 years in at this point, 3 years in. I'm like, fuck, this is getting tough. What do I do now? Sold the Chevy, went through that money, sold my Harley. I remember I had that beautiful Harley out there too.
I did.
Yeah, so those are things that you work hard for. I busted my ass for years to get those things for myself. I love them. But again, when you're onto something and you believe in what you're doing, you have to do whatever it takes to get there. I mean, also there's a certain point you got to know, like, fuck, it's time to throw in the towel. But if you're not feeling that and you feel you're slowly growing, you got to keep throwing fuel on the fire. And that's what I did. I sold the Harley, put all that money into more production, a bit more marketing at the time, and then things slowly started to take off from there. But yeah, that was my beloved 53 Chevy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got two questions on that.
Sure.
So, one is, at what timeline did things start clicking for you, and start so you were comfortable, so you could say that, you know what, I'm supporting my family now. This is a business that I've invested easily 3+ years into, plus all the other time.
Good question.
That happened. And then the second one is, what's the difference between the feeling of this is when I should throw in a towel, or this is when I should double down and fucking blast?
I think, first of all, everybody or anybody who's ever started something, whether it's a business or fucking whatever, a passion project or something, I think everybody knows that feeling you get in your gut when something might not be working, and you like start to get those sleepless nights of, am I on the right path? Should I continue? You kind of feel it in your gut. And as long as you feel in your gut that things are working, and even though it's not going as quickly as you like, I think you just got to stick with it. But when you have that, if it's keeping you up at night, that feel in your gut of should I or shouldn't I do this, you're probably better off not to do it. If you're not strong enough to handle it in your gut, and it's just keeping you awake at night and it's driving you nuts, that's when you should throw in the towel.
Yeah, I feel like there's...
Everybody's different.
Look, they made an entire show off ideas that just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
People more likely didn't think it could. Dragon's Den and all those other spin-offs of Dragon's Den. So I think it's important to be mindful that not everything's going to work.
Absolutely.
You're going to fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Failure is imminent. If you're not failing, you're not trying, you're not doing, you're not learning.
Yep.
If someone says the first business you start should be successful, I say that's the stupidest comment I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Look,
that wasn't my first business. I've done other things.
Right.
And when I say throw in the towel, if you're feeling that, I don't mean throw in the towel forever as an entrepreneur. Maybe it's just not that. Maybe that's not your gig.
Right.
Find the next thing. There's a fuckload of shit you could do out there. So if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, it just might not be that. Just go on to the next thing, give that a shot. But for me, to answer your second question, I think it was at least 6 years before I started to feel like, okay, I could take a little paycheck out of this now. And maybe 7-8 years where I said, at that point, you know what? It was going quite well. I was busting my ass. I was doing barbering and I was doing the product line. And I felt like, you know what, maybe now is the right time to kind of step back from the barber chair and just throw myself in deep and fully immerse myself into the product line and give it 100% to really make it go. So I'd say that on that 7-8 year mark is when I really felt confident and comfortable that we're onto something. And they say, you know what, most businesses, they say within 5 years, if it's not taken, like, get rid of it, right? They'll if you're not successful at 5, give it up. That's for some people. I'm the type of guy that I always had more than one gig going. So if you can do it as a side hustle and it's not, you get it at a level where it's not costing you anything and you're still providing for your family and you can continue rolling with it, then go for it. And that's what I did. That's why I didn't throw in the towel earlier. I had my full-time gig. I was a barber. I was providing for my family and I was providing for them to the point where I knew I could make that switch, shut that off and turn this on and just go. And that's what I did.
How many hours a day were you working?
Lots of hours a day, man. And I still do. I'm up at 6 a.m. and if I'm not physically working, my brain is already planning and going over things in my head. And we discussed this earlier. I go to bed at night, 11, 12 o'clock. I'm still, the wheels are still rolling, Yeah. You never stop. I don't think anybody with that entrepreneurial spirit really ever stops. You?
No.
You don't shut it off.
It's taking me. I mean, I tell Vinay and Jules and I long conversations about all this. It's taken years to be able to put myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Not medically.
Yeah.
Or using any other, whatever you want to call it, but just being able to turn it off. Mine doesn't stop.
It's hard. Look, as creatives, Vinay for sure deals with this. As a creative, he's always got stuff going on in his head. I'm sure Julian does as well. If you're a creative person, it's hard to shut off, man.
You know what I find helps? Cannabis.
Why would you bring up cannabis, man? I told you. We don't do drugs in here. Cannabis, actually, you know what? I just started smoking some cannabis to try and kind of calm me down and relax me a bit.
Yeah.
Getting really hungry again. I feel like I'm a teenager again.
You know what?
I'm up at night, my kids are going, what the fuck? Who's in the fucking pantry? It's just me, and where are the fucking Doritos? But, hey, I got to get it in my system. My system's got to get used to it again.
Those cupboards are full of junk food now.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get my own stash now because my wife is getting all healthy on me. Those delicious snacks that used to be there aren't there anymore. So
I find there's a fine line between taking like a micro dose or just enough to kind of keep your mind at bay and focused, right? Because you can easily your focus can be so wide. Yeah. Which that's kind of for me what causes chaos. Because there's so many things going. If I let that in the lens,
sure.
It's like the floodgates open and I'm just pulling my hair out. So I find that cannabis allows me to narrow that focus onto the task.
Oh, that's good.
But you could also go overboard.
Sure.
And then you're just...
Are you smoking? Are you like edibles? What are you talking?
It kind of depends. I mean, usually I'll take an edible every once in a while just because I can't actually control it. Unless I control the dose to the T, which I can't control how much I'm eating. I don't really know what it's going to do. I'm not very seasoned in the edible section.
Me too.
But I know if I hit the vape pen one time, I'm a functioning human being. Well, probably a lot more pleasant to be with. You can ask Jules because I'm just a little calmer and a little more
edge off.
Focused. Yeah.
I think it's presence.
Yeah.
It brings honing in a solid presence, and you can't be focused on the future or worried about the past if you're just here in the moment.
True. Yeah, no, I'm just, like I said, I'm just starting to experiment with it. Edibles, no, because I don't know what it's going to do. I'm fucking scared, to be honest with you. I'm paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could send me over the edge. I don't know what the fuck I'm capable of. I'm 52-year-old crazy Italian man, and I'm not doing edibles. I don't know what it's going to do to me.
Is that the campaign? Can we use that as a tagline?
Yeah, for sure.
On that photo that we took of you?
Yeah.
That would be
great.
Epic.
Yeah. No, it's a whole new world, man. There's so many people that are doing edibles, and you go down Queen Street these days, and it's like every 3 stores is a weed shop now. So it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy how long it takes for things to curate in society.
Yeah, that's true. It took a long time for weed to get to where it is today.
Yeah, and it never really changed. They can say that it's medicinal now, but it never really changed. It was a plant that grew from the ground.
Yeah.
Just like any other ingredient you would take. But now it's acceptable. So I find that.
Yeah. And now the next big thing is mushrooms.
Psychedelics.
Yeah.
Huge believer in mental, medicinal mental uses.
Yeah, my sister's involved in that, but my sister is a holistic nutritionist, but she's actually on the board of a new company. They haven't gone. Actually, I think they did go public, but they're not quite open yet, and it's mushrooms.
Yeah, psilocybin.
Yeah.
Have you ever participated in not a study, but a ceremony where it's used for the sole purpose of maybe dealing with trauma?
I haven't, and I have the ability to do so because of my sister, because they haven't, and she's trying to convince me to do that. But no, again, I don't know what I'm capable of doing. I'm a fucking maniac. I don't know what I might do. I'm scared. I'm scared to try that shit, man. I don't know.
Fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah. I'm not comfortable letting myself go that way. No. I need to be in control.
Why?
I don't fucking know. I just feel like I need to be in control. And I think if I go down that road and I lose control, I don't know what that's gonna do, man.
But you're always in control. It's your body.
Nah.
No?
I don't know, psychedelics like that. I'm not ready for it yet. Maybe one day. But I know a lot of people are getting the benefits of it, so that's good.
Yeah, listen, there's always going to be people who are going to really dive into the benefit aspect, and then there's going to be the people that just want to have fun with it or want to abuse it. You're not going to get rid of those people on anything. It's the same with alcohol, controlled substance like alcohol.
Yeah, it's a different world now. It's not like when I grew up, the cocaine was the big thing back then. It's definitely not that these days, that's for sure. So, first of all, let me say I do not do cocaine. I'm clean.
We're going to put that on the billboard, the second billboard?
Second billboard, yeah.
I do not do
cocaine.
Okay.
So that actually brings me to
judging.
My next question, which is, how did you get here? So where were you born?
Where was I born?
Yeah, and where's your family? You're Italian.
So I'm Italian. My parents are from southern Italy. I was born in 1969. Born and raised in a beautiful little house in Jane and Finch, actually. I was there until I was 14 years old. And from the beautiful hood of Jane and Finch, we moved over to the beautiful hood of Rexdale. So, yeah. And my parents are immigrants. My dad came here as a hairstylist. He was actually brought over by his cousin, our Godfather Joe, we call him. So Godfather Joe was the first of all of those relatives that actually immigrated to Canada. And he was actually the very first salon franchise in Canada back in, I believe it was the mid-60s. So at one point, there was a Joseph's salon, and pretty much, you probably remember seeing them, and every mall had one. Square One had one, Sheridan Mall had one. And he was the guy that actually started bringing over all of his cousins. My dad being his first cousin. He was one of the guys that Kumbada Joe, as we call him, Godfather Joe, brought over. And within a couple of years of my dad being here, believe it or not, he had him and his brother, my Uncle Mike, had 4 salons going within his first 2-3 years in this country, which is insane that he did that. But yeah, so my roots come from that. My whole family down the line, everybody got into the hairdressing business.
So it's the hair salon mafia.
Hair salon mafia, pretty much. Yeah. There's hairstylists and barbers in the family.
Are they still in the game?
Yeah. Everybody's pretty much still in it. I mean, honestly, it's like every single cousin. And if they're not cutting hair, they're on the beauty side. They're beauticians, estheticians.
Wow.
Uncles, cousins. So my dad was in the business. My mom was also a hairstylist. My older brother cuts hair. My younger brother is in the business as a colorist technician. He never got into the hair cutting side. He's just a really fantastic hair colorist. My sister's the only one that didn't get into it within our family. But I mean, every single cousin, one way or another, is involved in the business. So yeah, it's a big family of stylists and barbers for sure.
Do you guys do a conference?
No conference, no.
No family conference?
No. But we don't get together like we used to. But I'm sure, years ago when we would all get together at a wedding, the talk was always about business. You're sitting at a table of 10 people, 9 out of 10 of them just came from cutting hair. So it's like a fucking barber conference or stylist conference every time we got together, for real. Yeah.
But yeah, fly on that wall.
That's the family business, yeah. And Kumbada Joe, Godfather Joe from Joseph's, God bless him, he's 96 now, and he's still around. And you'll still catch him maybe at one of the barber shops because he actually, Joseph's is no more. That closed years ago. He got rid of those and opened up the first barber shops really in Canada again when there was that resurgence called the Barber's Chair. So that was Kumbada Joe, and you can find him at Square One Mall on a Saturday, standing at the front desk there with his cane, just checking out what's going on. I mean, this guy's still driving.
Good for him.
So yeah, God bless Kumbada Joe.
God bless him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hold on a second. Jules wanted to tell you, he was really excited. He had this idea. It was a marketing campaign, but he was really excited to share it with you. He felt like it would, you'd enjoy it.
Suspense is killing me. Fucking spit it out, man.
Okay. So as you know, we are on the precipice of launching our cigars.
Yeah.
And so we've been kind of coming up with some interesting campaigns and ideas as to the best way to showcase them.
Yeah.
And so I came up with this idea, and we would have our founder and the Zeus of Peter James.
Yep.
And we'd have the camera start on a silhouetted figure. And as the lights come up, this figure is wrapped in a towel.
Ooh.
But naked. John.
Wow.
Slowly the camera pans in.
Mm-hmm.
John spins around.
Ooh.
And flips open the towel.
Yeah.
And the Peter James cigar
Right there.
is right there.
That's fucking sexy.
And it closes with the best thing you will have in your mouth all
Ooh.
day.
Oh, I like that. Very risque.
But it's done in the music has to. You have to have.
You're gonna
a little
say
bit
it's
of
done
music.
tastefully?
No, not at all.
He's got a fucking cigar where his schlack is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tagline doesn't bother you at all?
Not at all. I like it.
Not offensive?
No, fuck, man. You know what? My ears would perk up.
Really?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, so it's done to like the.
You're in a towel. Other things might perk up too. John.
Right? Is it Habano, Maduro?
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I like it.
One will never know.
You gonna do it?
What?
This whole idea.
I think we should.
It's percolating.
I like it.
I think we should.
I mean, I see, and part of me...
Vinay's over there going, please, I don't want to have to film
part of
this.
me says...
I don't want to have to fucking film this guy in a towel.
No, it wouldn't be me. That's for damn sure.
What do you mean it wouldn't be you?
I have doppelgangers.
Oh, you do, but it has to be.
Didn't you see Cousin Mikey
Don't
in
we talk
yesterday's
about?
post?
Don't we
Everybody
talk
thought it was
about
me?
authenticity? It's got to be you.
Come on.
It's got to be you in the towel, bro. Good idea.
I'll
Julian.
tell you what. He gets sign off from Christina in writing with
Yeah.
a signature, and I'll do it.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind.
Challenge accepted.
I'm sure she would. Go for it. No, good idea. Marketing 101. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, I wanted it to be with,
Give them what they
Donna
need.
Summers, hot stuff.
Yeah.
Very full Monty.
Yeah.
Build a suspension. The dance kicks in. He starts
Yeah, yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
He turns around, flips open the towel.
By the way, congrats on this cigar, man. That's amazing.
Thank you. I would love for you to try it. I know that you're...
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
For people are probably wondering, well, why don't you just try it? I've been off of smoking for a while. I hate to bring COVID into this, but I did have COVID 2 years ago. Put my ass in the hospital for 2 weeks. Scared the fucking shit out of me. So I'm easing back into my old life. But yeah, definitely for sure soon.
Yeah, thank you.
But tell me about that. Like, how long did that take to come to fruition for you? How long was that in the planning stages? How did that?
It's been a while. Like, anything that if I'm going to take on an endeavor, the first thing I'm going to do is try my own hand at it.
Sure.
I need to know what it is. I mean, I've been in the industry. I've been, enjoying cigars for close to 20 years. So, I understand the essence of it, but getting into the details, the minutia of manufacturing and boxing and banding and blending and storing, aging, that was fun.
Sure.
It took a heck of a long time. At first, attempting this during the pandemic was challenging because there was a huge shortage.
Sure. Everything.
Of everything.
Yeah.
So some of the major manufacturers at that time, they weren't interested in smaller craft projects. They were just trying to keep up with demand for their bigger brands. So they politely said, this is something we'd think about doing down the road. So I actually put it on the back burner. So I was like, there's two now major manufacturers, one in Dominican, one in Nicaragua, saying that They're just too overloaded. They can't get enough out. You know, they're respectful and saying this is just not the right time. So I said, okay, I'll listen. Not the right time. Maybe close to a month later, I had a gentleman reach out on Instagram asking me about a case. And we got to talking, and he explained, you know, sort of what he did, where his role was at a small factory in Esteli, in Nicaragua. And he was a gentleman who had an amazing story, is kind of like us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was one of the London's top concierge gentlemen, well known within the city, and just said, you know, I want to pursue my passion in the cigar industry, and took a flight to, and I'm high level here because there's more to this story, but I took a flight to Nicaragua, found a home, so to speak, and I've been trying my hand at it ever since. So I saw, you know, he had that hunger as well. He had that passion. This isn't something that, you know, I'm just going to do it to do it. I actually love this, and I want to be good at it. So, you know, through everything, by the time we got partnered with him, started blending, I would say it's been already a year
Wow,
year
that's
and a bit.
amazing.
Yeah.
So from the time you started the process to finished product,
Just our first blend, which was 2 cigars, you know.
and it took how long?
Well, about a year.
About a year. That's amazing.
12 to 14
That's
months.
incredible. And you know what? I mean, anybody can go out probably these days and white label a cigar just like you can white label products.
Yes.
And the fact that you actually dove in deep and went and met with people and got in right from the early stage to the end and see it through is amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's
That's
tough.
I mean, look, that's true to who we've always been. It's that honor, integrity, tradition. That's what Peter James stands for.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna, and I don't mean to offend people, because, you know, white labeling is a great business
It's
model.
got its place.
It has its
Sure.
place. You know, if you're Rolls Royce and you want to white label a cigar,
Yeah.
why do you need to make your own blend?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm a small brand.
Yeah.
Why would somebody just buy a promotional cigar from me? I
That's
want them
right.
to buy the best of me.
Yeah.
What
Well,
what can I provide them? So that's why I didn't go the white label route, because then at that point I just felt like I was selling somebody else's cigar with my name on it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Doesn't mean I wouldn't. Like, if I found a cigar that was impeccable, I'd want to buy it just to offer it to my customers.
Sure.
I know, wouldn't necessarily say it's Peter James, but maybe it's Julian.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Julian.
The Julian sounds good too. No, listen, the fact that you did that is amazing. That's shows true authenticity, that you actually dove so deep to actually want to bring out a cigar with your name on it and not just go the easy way. So kudos to Peter James for that, man.
Thank you.
Amazing. Congrats.
Team effort.
Yeah, I'm sure. Actually, it was John that first got me into cigars, really. I was smoking cigars back then because we had the barbershop.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a thing that we would bring in cigars and offer them to the customers, you know, have a shave, have some scotch, as you might recall. Here's our scotch cabinet. Actually, we didn't have any scotch today. We should have some. But yeah, I didn't really get into cigars until I met you, and you kind of started bringing me a variety of different sample packs to try out. So that's when I realized, like, the whole world of cigars. It was you that opened that world up to me.
Well, that's when my world really opened up at that point too. And I was just sharing that with you because before that, I was solely a Cuban smoker. I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
You talk to some of the gentlemen in your circles and the older people, you lean on them for advice at the time. And I was always steered towards the Cuban side.
Yeah.
And they kind of made the non-Cuban, they segmented the non-Cuban side as if it was just evil.
Yeah.
No, you don't want that. You don't want the Nicaraguan,
That's true.
Dominican. And then I'm like, okay, you guys know more than I do. But then as you start to live, you start to learn, you start to try new things on your own. You break down belief systems, you break down all of that, and you say, no, I'm gonna make my own decisions.
Yeah.
And at that time, I started to really experience Nicaragua, Dominican, Honduras, Peru. It was just beautiful, and I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, and I recall that because at that time, when we did have cigars in the shop, or if a client would bring it in, it would always be, are they Cubans? Are they Cubans? Yeah. Nobody really talked about any other type of cigar. So yeah, that opened us up to a whole new world, me and Frank. And at that point, we were actually contemplating doing like a private smoke lounge there in the basement of the barbershop.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah, we were contacting the city. There used to be a private club clause, like members only type thing, and you were allowed to years ago do something like that here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
But it's literally written down in the books: private club members only clubs no longer allowed. So we missed that by a few years actually. But the plan was to actually keep the barbershop upstairs and do a nice little smoke lounge in the basement of the barbershop. And yeah, once you started coming out with those cigars, we would then get more guys involved in cigars that were coming to the shop. I'd be going home, so I'm like cigars. My wife would be like, "What the fuck is going on all of a sudden? I mean, how many cigars are you smoking now a week?" I would blame you. I would say, "You know that guy Johnny I used to talk about? It's him." Love you, Pamela, my wife of 36 years actually now, and actually quite big supporter of Crown from day one, and still behind the scenes she does a lot, and she still gives me shit for smoking cigars to this day. So,
how did you guys meet?
We actually met in high school, believe it or not. 16 years old. We met in high school. I saw her walk by. She went to her locker. It was like one of those movies where just slow motion. Her hair was, her teased up hair was just moving just so gently. She went to her locker. I went up behind her. I tapped her on the shoulder, and she turned around. I said, "I think I love you." And she looked at me and she said, "Fuck off." So I'll never forget that day. I felt like a piece of shit. Anyway, I kept on her. I persisted, and we ended up becoming a couple. And over the years, we of course, we were young. We were kids. We broke up a few times, got back together, broke up, got back together, and eventually ended up getting married at just turning 21. So we got married fairly young. She's also a stylist by trade, so hairdressing.
Keep it in the family.
Her sister's a hairdresser. Her brother's a hairdresser, So
just you and your sister didn't follow
just
suit.
My sister. Yeah, we kept her out of it. Yeah.
Okay, so happily married. Sounds like
yeah, absolutely.
Soulmates. 36 years.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about when to throw in the towel. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that sometimes, especially during the pandemic, where they. At what point do you say, what's that? This is the person, whether good or bad. Because I'm sure in 36 years you've had a couple bumpy roads.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I just wanted to. I wanted to, ever since I was young and when we were dating, I always said I just want to be a good provider, find that person that makes me feel good, makes me feel loved, have a family, raise a family, and I never set the bar too high with any expectations of what we would build together. And she's exactly that same way. So through the years, I think being on the same page every step of the way, of course we would have our little arguments when we were younger and stuff. As you get older, you learn to just avoid that and you just become best friends. So yeah, I think if you're not going to bed happy every night, I don't know, you talk about throwing in the towel, like on a relationship, you mean?
I mean, like in essence, how did you what tip would you give someone? I mean, look, obviously, we're still
You guys,
I'm speaking for some other people out
Sure.
there that, because I know a lot of people who separated during the pandemic.
I do too.
And
I do too. Yeah, I guess you got to get to know somebody. The sooner you get to the root of that person, the better.
yeah,
And if you're not on the same page, man, there's always going to be some headbutting. You have to be on the same page. You have to have the same beliefs, the same wants, the same desires to a certain extent. I mean, she could want what she wants and I could want what I want. But at the end of the day, we have to realize what we can and what we can't achieve and be happy with it. Like there's some people that they get married and they want the fucking world, right? We're both exactly the same, where we just say, you know what? We just want our family to be happy. We want our healthy kids. We want to just be able to, we never tried to achieve too much. We're like, if I could put food on the table, if I could cover the bills, and if we can take our vacations and do what we want and provide for our kids and help them out as much as we can, then we're happy, and we're happy in love that way because we're both on the same page. So I think, yeah, you just have to, in order to know that's your soulmate, you got to really be friends. You got to be on the same page in so many different things, and we've always been that way. So I feel very fortunate though, because I know a lot of friends over the years and family that their marriages didn't make it, and it's sad. And we're one of the fortunate couples that after 36 years of marriage, so we've been together actually longer, that we're still strong. We love each other. We're tight. We're close. We have fun, and that's the most important thing. I think you have to know how to have fun together. And I also learned years ago. She's gonna I hope she doesn't listen to this, but no, she's not gonna listen to this. The little fights it's very easy to pick on stuff, It's very easy to be headstrong and have these arguments. And there's couples that go to bed mad and they don't talk, and it could blow up and fester to something bigger. You drag out something so small for so long. I learned a long time ago just to avoid that. It's like even if I have my belief, if we're debating on something, even if I believe that she's wrong, I'm just gonna say you're right. And I hate to be that guy that says just say yes, dear. But you know what? If it's not that important to me to win that fucking battle, why would I want to fight? I love this person. So if you feel headstrong about it, and I feel headstrong about it, and I know that I'm right, and you know that you're right, I'm still just gonna say you're right because I don't want to continue the fight. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I think it's you get your energy from other places. You don't need to steal it from your wife.
Yeah. It's like I love this person, so it could be the dumbest little debate, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. Oh, you're just saying I'm right, but whatever, man, you're right. I love you, you're right, and that's it. So I think that's what made it work for me, because I'm a nice, sweet man, sweet Italian man that always gives up.
And doesn't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Marijuana I'm doing now.
Okay, so marijuana we can take off the list.
Yes. But yeah, that's not to give relationship advice to anybody.
But you see that? I think you absolutely have the right to give relationship advice. Well, you've done it for 36 years. You have beautiful kids. How do you not? Where do I get advice if I can't get it from
relationships are hard, man. I see people go through it. They are really hard. But it comes down to if you really love your partner, you can let a lot of shit go, and you just go, that's fucking just nonsense, right? And just move on. I mean, there were early days when we were married where I remember she'd be pissed off at me, so I'm pissed, I won't talk to you. We'll go to bed, you stay on your side of the fucking bed, I'll stay on my side of the bed. And we won't talk for fucking days until finally we just snap out of it. But I'm too old for that. I don't want to do that now. I love her. I don't want to go to bed mad. I also want to get a little frisky. So I want to be on her good side all the time. Right?
Which is why you created your newest edition.
Which is?
The lube.
Lube coming soon. Sexual lube coming soon. Personal lubrication for all your desires and needs coming soon.
What's that? Do you have a name?
Not fully trademarked yet, but we're working on it. We got some good names for it. But yeah, I think, you know what? In all seriousness, that whole sexual lifestyle, which was taboo years ago, it's just exploded now. Years ago, I remember saying this to Pamela, we should get into the sex business. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, sex toys and personal toys and that kind of stuff and lube. And she was like, are you fucking crazy? That was shit back then you'd find just on the back of a magazine or something, right? But now, it's another one of those things where I said I should have fucking done it. You walk into any of these department stores, Saks, Neiman Marcus, they all have a sexual wellness area now where, you're buying a $400 perfume, take 5 steps and you're looking at fucking dildos and fucking creams and stuff. So it's a lifestyle product now. So yeah, why not make a lube? We're not trying to compete with any of those companies. I just think it's something that my Crown customer base, I mean, look, it's all about convenience. So I have these guys that buy Crown products. If I can offer them something convenient that they're already going to the local Shoppers Drug Mart or whatever to purchase, if they can get it from me, then why not? I'll put it out there.
Obviously organic.
Organic, obviously.
Craft, handmade.
And before when I started the show, I said, I only make things that I use. Let me be clear. I don't use it, but I will start using it because I believe there's a need for it. Trying to help my fellow man out, but I will use it for sure. And look, if it's organic and it's a personal lube, there's a lot of different uses for it. We'll find something to do with it.
Or Julian will help.
Julian will find something to do.
I will definitely.
But yeah, no, but seriously, look, sexual wellness, that whole category is huge now. And it's right in there with skincare. If you go in some of the most exclusive, beautiful skincare boutiques in New York or LA or anywhere, they all have a small section of sexual wellness products now. It's exploded. Kind of like cannabis has. It was taboo.
Yep.
Should never have been taboo. Nope. Right? And now people are very accepting of it. So we're going in the right direction.
I hope so. There's a few things that have to go in the right directions to make up for everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. That in terms of products that we're working on, Julian, that's it right now.
No, you got one coming out too.
We have
Limited edition.
we have limited edition. Yeah, we have Black Book is a fragrance
Black
we've been
Book.
playing
That's
around with
this
for a
one right
while.
here.
Yeah, this is a Black Book by Persons of Interest. It's got a nice leathery, sweet kind of leathery scent to it. And I've actually had this out. I put stuff out for sometimes a year. I'll just hand stuff out to people. I don't just come on fragrance and say this is it and I'm gonna, fill it, package it, and put it out there. Every fragrance we have, I'll play around with it for a year and I'll pass around little testers to people and I'll wait for the feedback. And if people come back and they're like, I need more of that
I can
shit.
tell you, because I was a huge proponent of Tom Ford because I love the leather smells.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Naturally.
Sure.
This is way better.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. And again, this I put this out about a year ago. And I'll be honest, I go through a bit of imposter syndrome with this brand. I mean, more so than I do with Crown, because you never feel like you're actually, doing what you're supposed to do in terms of like people see a fragrance brand and they assume that I'm like this perfumer. And in no ways do I ever claim that I'm like one of these French perfumers that take years to come up with this wonderful fragrance and they sit there and they perfect it. I've taken the easier way. I kind of know what I like in terms of fragrance. I like to bring back a lot of the older style scents and mix with the new. So what I do is I'm not sitting here for fucking 6 months trying to come up with the perfect scent. I basically have a blend in mind. I have notes in mind. I have an excellent chemist that I work with, a whole manufacturing department that I do work with. I have a fragrance house that I work with, a very reputable fragrance house that I basically can say to them, this is what I'm looking for. Take a little bit of this particular fragrance. I could say Tom Ford. Take Tom Ford Lost Cherry, take this by Prada and take this by Gucci and mix it all fucking together. And I want a bit of all of that in there. So we kind of work back and forth that way until we come up with fragrances that for me are familiar. It's very hard to come up with a totally new fragrance. Anything you ever smell, you go pick up a new fragrance, you're always going to say, oh, this reminds me of something. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's totally fine. If it reminds you of another fragrance, but it's slightly different, and even if it's not that different, but it makes you feel good, that's totally fine with me. So that's the way we're able to bang out fragrances a little quicker. If I wanted to put more out, I can, because I work with a great fragrance house. And I'm the creative behind it, but I'm not the perfumer. However, we do our own mixing in here. Once the blends are made, we do bring them here, and we do our small batch mixing in here. We add our other ingredients to the fragrance oils and bottle everything here in house. And yeah, fragrance to me, it's special. It's supposed to make you feel special. I love fragrance. I've always loved fragrance. Crown had a fragrance. Our signature blend was and still is our number one SKU in the Crown line. And that's really what led me on to going in a bit deeper into fragrance and kind of going into a bit more of a luxury boutique style of fragrance. And that's what I love about it. Fragrance is supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to evoke memories. I'm sure every time you put something on, it reminds you of something. When you put something on, it takes you back. It's kind of like music. You hear a song from the 80s, it kind of instantly brings you back.
Yep.
So like fragrance is the same thing. It's kind of like the soundtrack of our life in a way. You smell something, it reminds you of your grandmother, reminds you of your grandfather, reminds you of a time and a place. And that's the beauty of fragrance. It's magical. I think so anyway. So it doesn't really matter how I put it out there. I don't feel like I have to be the perfumer. Again, I'm the creative, and that's good enough for me. Not all brands and skincare brands come with a founder that are making everything themselves. They're just the creative and the driving force behind it, and that's totally fine. And there are brands out there where the person happens to be a chemist, and they're making everything from start to finish themselves. That's great too. Whatever means you have to do to get a good product that's going to make an impact out there and make people feel good. And by no means is it making that kind of an impact. I mean, it's fucking fragrance. We don't need another fragrance line, but if I can put out something out there that is going to make someone feel good, and it does, because I get emails and DMs all the time of how a certain fragrance makes somebody feel, or one of the home scents that we've given someone with the cones in their space, it makes people feel good, and that makes me happy.
Well, I think that's the difference, right? There's people who do things creative. We talk about creative, right? The ultimate goal is, why do you create or start something from scratch, like versus the whole white labels? For that specific reason. You want, like, for me, I've always been, and for lack of better terms, a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I wanted to be liked. I thoroughly enjoy seeing everybody happy.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me happier
Yeah.
than just watching that energy. So anytime we're putting out product, it's always, and you allude to this because you said this the other day, it's how do we make somebody feel special?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter on what scale. As long as your intention is theirs, you're not doing this, you're not chasing the money or the fame.
Absolutely.
Or that it's, you know, what are you really, your authentic intention? What is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, us and most of the people that we deal with day to day are crazy, just as crazy as we are. And I say crazy because really you got to be freaking crazy if you're putting in all this sweat equity, this time, this energy, and you're not, you know, pouring in trucks of money
Yeah.
to take care of the family,
Yeah.
but you're doing it out of just passion and love. And hopefully things turn out the way they want.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have to throw in the towel. But I think that in itself takes a lot.
Yeah. Doing something out of passion, not knowing if you're going to make money at it. Look, this business affords me a lifestyle that I'm happy with. Could I be making way more money, as we spoke earlier about scaling? Absolutely. But most of the stuff I've ever done in my life, I've done out of passion and to fill like a creative void. I'm always looking to do something. If it wouldn't be this, it'd be something else. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to paint people's jackets for free. Like I learned how to use an airbrush. I was quite crafty at painting. I would even do hand painting. People would bring me their jackets. I would do back then Playboy bunnies and all kinds of crazy shit. And that led me into other stuff then. I was really good with an airbrush. In the salon, once we were doing a renovation in one of the shops, one of our sinks that came in from Italy cracked. And they're like, fuck, what are we going to do with this fucking sink now? By the time we get that next one in, well, I was already crafty and handy. I had my airbrush and I pulled in my airbrush. I pulled in my Bondo. I fixed the fucking sink. Color match, sprayed it, and they were like, what the fuck how did you do that? That actually led me, we didn't get into that, but that actually led me into another side business that I did for many years where I was doing hotel restoration.
Yeah.
Again, I was so passionate about that. And at this point, I was out of the hairdressing and doing a few other things. And that led me down a road where I started doing restoration work on bathtubs and ceramics and marble for hotels. And again, I wasn't doing that to chase money. It was allowing me to get the creative juices going. And I love working with my hands and I love doing stuff. For as long as I can remember, I was doing stuff. My brother still makes fun of me about this. So when I was young, working at one of my cousin's salons in the Royal York and Bloor area, I remember some of the clients would be coming in. I would hear these women talking about like their fashion, their jeans. One woman came in with like all these rhinestones all over her jeans and they were all talking about how amazing these jeans were. Well, I went home and I started fucking bedazzling jeans. And my brother still makes fun of me. He goes, you were fucking bedazzling women's jeans. I was making money, but that wasn't the point. I was doing something fun and creative. I actually started purchasing jeans wholesale. Or women found out I was doing this shit and were giving me their jeans. I would stencil out, back then, we're talking early 80s. I would stencil out Chanel logo, Fendi logo, Gucci logo on jeans. Some of them would be painted on. Some would be completely rhinestoned on. So for me, again, it just goes back to like creative, not doing anything to chase a money trail. Just do something that you're passionate about and the rest will follow. You hope anyway. And if it doesn't, as long as you're doing something, you're having fun, you find another way to make money.
I think it's interesting too, though, with both of you, you seem to monetize in some ways your interests and your curiosity. So as you're learning through a process, like creating a cigar, you're figuring out ways, well, how can I monetize this? You're actually almost, in a way, long-term funding your education on a particular curiosity.
That's right, yeah.
Which is,
clever. I tell people, if you can find something, or you've heard this before, if you can find something that you love doing and you get paid for it, then you fucking hit the lottery. Like you were passionate about cigars. You didn't set out to say, I love cigars, I'm going to make money off cigars. You set out to do something that you were passionate about, and it evolved.
Just so happy to be in the cigar industry.
Evolved into a business where you were able to then monetize it. Me too. Like when I started with the shaving cream, it wasn't to monetize it. It was to use a good product on my clients. It just evolved. And if you can find something you're passionate about, I tell that to my kids. I say, like, find something that you're passionate about. If you can find something that you love doing, I mean, it's cliche to say, but you never work a fucking day in your life. Yeah. If you're happy going to work, It's not fucking work. So kids, if you're listening, find something you really like to do. Don't waste your fucking time.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, but you can do medicinal marijuana.
But also,
Don't do cocaine.
But I think too, like, it's interesting because that idea of finding out what you like is very much like there's a common thread in a lot of what you're saying, which is you seem to have really found yourself and an understanding of who you are as a person early on enough to know what your interests are, what your lifestyle is like, the things that really inspire you, that, you know, the directions you go. It wasn't like you, which is, there's nothing wrong with having to experiment and try on a variety of different hats, but you kind of went down with all of these things that interest you, that skill set that you developed or built through little curiosities, and it led you down, and you were open and receptive to kind of pursue each of these little things in a certain way. You took a lot of risks, I'm sure,
Absolutely.
with your multiple different endeavors, and led it to a point where now it's like I really know that what I love and I'm passionate about is Crown, is an experience of curating a certain like lifestyle, you
Absolutely,
know, the time and energy that it takes to, you know, be mindful about how you're looking, how you're smelling, what kind of, you know, attention you're putting into your beard, your hair. You know, those are all things that really make you who you are.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing is you're sharing part of that with a larger audience.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why Crown is the small success that it is people saw that what I was doing was not just to make product and make money, it was to share with a community of guys, not necessarily a better product, because there's a lot of great products out there, but something that perhaps resonated more with them than what they were currently using. So it's all about sharing and community, and I think that's what makes the brand so successful.
Yeah, it's like it's an expression of you.
Yeah.
I think even with Peter James, it's very
Absolutely.
much an expression of
Absolutely.
you know, the John's love, desire, his creativity, his you know, obviously finding a niche that there was nothing of that sort in.
Sure.
And again, offering a part of himself, saying like, you know what, I know myself thoroughly enough. I know myself as this type of a person, and the things that I would expect if I was, you know, on the purchasing side of it.
Yeah.
So now how do I culminate these ideas and this essence of me and put it into a product and offer it to the world and see how they enjoy it? And obviously when it resonates well with the audience, it takes off.
Yeah, it takes off for sure. And I think, you know, boutique type smaller brands like Crown, Peter James is a big brand, but we'll say boutique brand.
Boutique.
When you're kind of like the face of the brand, like John is and like I am, I think it's even easier to build community because people kind of connect to that. They see you and they know they're supporting like a regular guy, right? They're just supporting a guy in the community that's trying to offer something cool, and they're not supporting like a big corporation that is just peddling products and hoping for that massive exit strategy where they sell for, you know, 50 million or fucking $1 billion, whatever it is. So I think that our community, your community, my community, it resonates with guys because we're guys, we're dudes, we're normal guys.
Like everyone else.
Yeah, and they connect. There's actually a face, and they know that we're hustling, and they can sense and see that we're breaking our fucking nuts to make shit and to make high quality shit so that we can share with them. So I think that's what helps brands like ours. Peter James, Crown, any small type of boutique brand where like a founder is kind of present. I think it changes when you don't know who the founder is. You feel like you're just dealing with a corporation. It's a little bit, on one hand, harder, but obviously on another hand, it's a lot easier. People like to buy from big brands. It's a reputable brand. It's been around for 100 years. But things have changed over the years where people like to shop small and support more locally made goods. So I think that plays into our favor in that sense for sure. Plus, they look at your guys' website, they see a fucking good looking guy like John and a good looking guy like Julian. Can't go wrong.
Is that why we were getting so many people knocking at the door?
We got people knocking at the door. Yeah,
Even
that's
here?
a hairdresser next door. That's okay. Hey, you can't come in now. Look, he's got to lift the sign. Look at him. Anyway.
I think what's a little different with what we're doing, is the fact that we want people to engage and really hear out the person that we're sitting with. So this is why we didn't really intro you in the beginning.
Sure.
We just figured people let them figure Dino out as we go along.
Cool.
Kind of blind, like a blind tasting.
Yeah.
Which I think you'd make an excellent blind tasting.
Thank you. Man.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But on that note, this is Dino, the owner, founder of Crown Shaving Co. and Persons of Interest, who was kind enough to allow us the use, of that name because it's awesome, Persons of Interest. So our podcast is technically named after Dino and his beautiful work with the fragrance line, which we do offer at Peter James in case anybody's interested, or on personsofinterest.com. Thank you for
my pleasure.
Breaking it in.
My pleasure. I won't be offended if either of you decide to call your next child Dino. You already got the Persons of Interest name.
Well, I'm that can't happen for me.
Okay, sorry to hear that, but that's good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, somebody name your dog, your cat.
Definitely.
But thanks for coming, guys. No, my house is your house. You're always welcome here. I appreciate you. I'm thrilled to be working with Peter James and you, John, and Julian and Vinay over there. Talented group of guys, very creative, and I'm excited for you guys and to see what's coming out in the future for Peter James as well.
Thank you. Definitely that advertisement, but thank you.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, like that. Good.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Cheers.